Hello students, the lesson for today is a poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. It is one of the finest poems of Robert Frost. This poem has a deep meaning. It deals with the problem of making a right choice. Many times in our life, we are faced with alternative choices when it is difficult to decide which one is to choose, but the decisions we take influence our future. Sometimes, after many years, we do repent for not choosing the other one. In this poem, the poet has beautifully symbolized the two roads with the careers we choose in our life. Now let us read the poem and try to understand its meaning. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now first look at the meanings. Diverged, it means separated and took a different direction. Yellowwood, a forest with decomposing leaves. Undergrowth, dense growth of plants and bushes. Here it means the forest. Now, in these lines, two roads diverge in a yellow wood. The poet is standing at a crossing of two roads and he is in a dilemma. Which road should he choose? And sorry, I could not travel both. Because there were two roads and he could not travel the both. He had to make a choice to travel in one of the two roads and be one traveler. Long I stood. So he stood there thinking for a long time that which path should he choose, and looked down one as far as I could. And he was looking at the roads as far as he could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. And he looked at the road which was just going towards the forest. Second stanza. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. First meaning, fair as good as the other one, means both the roads were same, it was equally good. Claim, better option, grassy, unused, wanted where had not been used. Now the explanation. Then took the other just as fair. Now he looked at the other road. It was equally good, like the first one, and having perhaps the better claim. But the poet here, he was thinking that if he choose this one, this would be the better option for him, because it was grassy and wanted wear. And he liked this road because it was grassy. Grassy means it was not used, and it wanted wear means it had not been used, so he chose this one to go. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Though he is saying that both roads were same, and for a traveler it would not mean any difference. Now the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now here, trodden means walked over. Now, the first line, and both that morning equally lay, means that morning when the poet wanted to walk over the road, and he chose the one path, but for him both roads were equal. In leaves no step had trodden black, means the grassy path which he had selected to walk over, it was not walked over. Nobody had walked on that. He could make out that because the leaves were lying there and nobody had crushed those leaves. Oh, I kept the first for another day. So he says that he kept the first road for another day. He thought that he will travel on this first road some other day, and this time he will walk on the second road, yet knowing how way leads on to way. But the poet knew that he was walking through the forest, and you know that when one walks through the forest, how many other ways you will meet, one never knows. So he knew that he was walking on a new road, and maybe or may not be, he'll be able to reach his destination. So he was not sure that he would come back again. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now here, sigh means deep breath, disappointment, and hence means in the future. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Now in these lines, the poet, after traveling a long distance, realizes that he has not made right choice by choosing the less traveled road. And so he is saying that he would be telling that two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled by. And thus he is saying that he would be telling others that there were two roads, means there were two options, and he took the option which was less traveled road. Less traveled road means the thing which he knew less about it, and that has made all the difference. So as a matter of fact, the poet is perhaps not happy with his choice of becoming a poet. He thinks it would have been more rewarding if he had chosen another profession. The message of the poem. Through the poem, The Road Not Taken, the poet wants to tell us that in our life, when we have to make a choice, out of many choices, we should be very careful to do so. Otherwise, if in a haste we make a wrong choice, in the long run, even our hard work does not yield as good result as if we had chosen a right one. Now, the rhyming scheme of the poem. The rhyme scheme of the poem, The Road Not Taken, is A, B, A, 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 B. The rhymes are end rhymes. Perfect rhymes are lay and way, and slant rhymes are both and undergrowth. Now, poetic devices. The poem contains 4 stanzas, and each stanza contains 5 lines. This is called a quintet. Thus, the poem contains 4 quintets. Number 1, personification. Example of personification used in the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Here the poet is not talking about a road, folk in the woods. Instead, he is using the concept of a diverging road to relate to making a decision in life. Second, metaphor. Example, in the poem the poet uses the fork in the road as a metaphor for the choices we make in our life. Repetition. Example, somewhere ages and ages hence. Syntax and structure. Example, long I stood. We normally say I stood long. I hope children, now you have understood the poem. Thank you.